Hi guys, it's Stacy. Today I am here with a Christmas slash birthday card. You can use it for whatever you want, but that's what it is for me. And I'm using a penny black stamp. Isn't this little image adorable? That I'm making this card for someone super special. If they're watching this, they probably figured it out, but hopefully they'll receive it before I get this posted. Right now what you're seeing is that I pulled out the waffle flower. I forget what that's called. It's not called a grip mat, is it? Media mat? I'm not sure. I pulled that out because that's a foam cling rubber mount. A rubber cling foam mounted stamp. I'm a little backwards today. I'm not feeling 100%, but I want to do this voiceover and get this done and get it posted so that it's up for those that want to hopefully want to use it for inspiration for their own Christmas cards or winter cards. What you were seeing is that I had die cut that circle out of this cardstock, and then I put the stamp in the center, and then the circle, so that I knew that it was going to land on the circle okay. And the little thumbs up was like, yeah, it fit well. And you'll see the image is a little bit different here because I don't know if anybody noticed, when I was pushing that down, I pushed a little too hard and it blew out the lines on the bear's foot. So they were, probably would have been just fine because they are kind of heavier than some of the other lines in the stamp anyway. But I went ahead and re-stamped it. And you're going to see that I think this paper is either Stampin' Up! Whisper White, or it's Hobby Lobby's brand, or it's Joann's brand. And it is, none of those are good for Copic coloring, or I don't like them. Like, it doesn't hold as much ink. I usually use Neenah 80 pound or 110 pound cardstock, Neenah Solar White. Or I use even Walmart's like Pin and Gear brand I like, and I think it was called Georgia Pacific before, but I'm not positive. And it was, I think, the same paper, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not positive. Those I actually like too. It's what I learned on, so it made it a little bit, maybe why I like it more. But this cardstock, whatever this was, I put it in the wrong spot. It just doesn't hold as much ink, so it bleeds, and the colors aren't the same. Like you'll notice with, even if it's white cardstock, it's not going to be all that noticeable, but it does affect the colors. It does affect how the ink lays down. So when you hear other creators say how important cardstock is and that could be the issue, it really can be. Unless that's what you learned on. If you learned on it, then you could probably make it work. And as you learn to use a medium, it'll get better and better. But sometimes it really is the cardstock. And I can't tell you enough that's true. Like watercolor paper, you need watercolor. If you need the right for markers. A lot of my markers I actually bought from someone on Craigslist years ago. Like probably maybe half of them. It was like 104 of them that I got for like less than $1 each, and they were full. And she said that she got them, and I got actually Neenah cardstock from her and other things too, all in this bundle and refills, and she didn't like it. And she was using the right cardstock, but I thought, was that it? Maybe she used the wrong cardstock? Because that happens too. But as I'm telling the story, I realized that she gave me Neenah cardstock, so she probably was using the right stuff. I'd like to get some Express It though. I heard some Express It blending cardstock, and every time I go to Blick Art Materials or Art Supply, it's usually in back order, so I need to just maybe get it somewhere else or order it, or however they do for their waiting list. So I'm going in and I'm having to work this cardstock a little bit more, and I used, I hope the markers are all up there. I think there's like R39, it might be R89 and R14, but I'm not positive. You guys, I did this voiceover, and as you can tell, I'm not feeling well, but I wanted to get this out. My voice is even further gone now, but I got to the very end and my computer went into, like, the screensaver came up, and for whatever reason, when I use this software that I'm using, it stops recording my voice, even though it's still playing in the background. The video is. I'm still speaking, and I had to start it all over again. Here, what you're seeing me do is take some isopropyl alcohol and clean up that ink that came from the lid, because I don't want it to get smeared onto my image. And I'm going to color this little bear with some warm grays. I want it to kind of look like a polar bear, more on the white side. But it may have not been successful in that. You let me know. And then with her, I wanted her to have like fair skin, medium fair skin. So I used the E0s, and I think it was like E13. I gave her little rosy cheeks. I didn't really talk much about that, did I? And a little rosy nose. And then I colored her lips with, I believe it was like an R20, but I'm not positive. I'm sure it was on the screen, you guys. So, I think this little guy looks like a polar bear when I'm done. You'll have to let me know. Let's see, what else? What do you guys have planned for the holidays? Do you have any plans for the holidays? We're going to be having our kids over and our grandkids. And I think I was telling you guys before, I'm trying to think what I talked about, because it's hard to do these voiceovers. And I actually filled the time really well and told you guys some about the image and the coloring and my personal life really well. And then I'm like, okay, what did I talk about? I think I was talking about how every time I love card making, but I haven't been doing it as much. Like right now, I'm currently working on some sculpting, like with air dry clay, and it's been a lot of fun because it's a new medium for me. Like there's a snowman video, I think that's coupled before this one. It's real short, and I that was my first sculpture ever, and I was so like excited about it because it came out so good to me. You guys will have to let me know if you go watch that video. It's only like, I don't know, 30 seconds long, maybe a little bit longer. And so I've been doing that, and I made a couple of Highland cows, which I still need to paint. I actually sculpted a dinosaur because my grandson loves dinosaurs. He said every time he sees a dinosaur, he says roar. That's what he calls them. So I took some foil and some wire and made armatures, and it wasn't over an actual ornament, and I still have to paint that one. It's all done and sculpted, but I need to paint it, so I need to finish those. So I want to get this voiceover done, even though I don't really have a voice, so that I can get this video posted for you guys. But I think I was talking about on Thanksgiving, the kids came over with the grandkids, and I was showing my daughter some of the things I got the kids for Christmas, you know. And my grandson saw this egg that has these dinosaur feet sticking out of it, and you bust it open, and there's parts in it, and in different parts of the dinosaur, like you have to dig out of clay. And he he saw it and was like, egg, rawr. And I was like, she was like, no, that's for, you know, you'll get that later. It's got to stay at grandma's. And we were going down the stairs, and he stops and he says to me, Grandma, egg. And then he's like, come on. And he's waving me up. Come on, Grandma, egg, come on. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, and he's still learning how to say a lot of things. And it was clear as day. And he knows, at 3 years old, he knows how to pull my heartstrings, right? He knows how to work grandma. So I give it to him. And then my daughter's cracking up, and she's telling her boyfriend, like, look at my mom. She's such a softie, which is accurate. It's so accurate. But it's so cool to be a grandparent, because you get to do and spoil and enjoy the kids, your grandkids, without the stresses of being their parent. And it's really cool. So now I understand why you always feel like your parents, when I was younger, my parents were like spoiling my children. Well, it's because they already raised their kids. They don't have the stress and every day of the grandkids, so they get to enjoy them being little. And I think as our kids get older, we really realize how much we enjoy them being young and all those special moments and how quick it goes by. So, but he knows how to work one over on grandma. And today they stopped by, but she was just picking up some something from here from me, and he was in the car, and I said, can he stay? And she's like, well, I gotta go here and this and that. And I said, okay. And then he's like sad, and he's like pulling out his car seat, like wants to come to grandma's. I'm like, look. And I'm like, Mom said next time. But what I'm doing is I'm putting a drop shadow behind it, this image. And if you saw I think it was like C2 marker, or it might have been the C1, like it splooged, it like spread out there, it dropped because I overfilled my marker. But I'm putting this drop shadow behind because I'm bringing in these white gel pens, and I want that fur to look furry, like the fur on the hat and the pom-pom. And so I need some shading behind the image in order to do that. And I have a Jelly Roll size 8 and a Jelly Roll size 10 because I wanted the different thicknesses in the fur. And I think my Jelly Roll size 8 didn't cover as well because anyone that uses white gel pens knows that they're finicky. It was laying down ink, but it wasn't as opaque as it typically is. But I think that probably worked to my advantage to really give the different layers of depth and size in the fur. So I shaded the hat a little bit heavier than maybe I would have, and I still think it looks great even if I wasn't to add that white fur in, because anytime you have something white, it's going to have shadows, and a lot of times white objects, when they're shadowed, will pick up the colors next to them. So, in real life, you may have a little bit of a pink or red undertone in your shadows for this hat, but I went ahead and went with the cool grays, and I did cool grays because I wanted them to be a different shade than the bear itself. So, did I go back in yet? I think I did. I went in and I laid down more ink, I think, in the hat. I looked away for a second, guys. If you color over white gel pen or any gel pen, do it at your own risk with your Copics because it can clog the nibs. But I wanted there to be more shadowing because that white wasn't popping enough in all the areas. And I think it'll be okay because my cool grays, most of them were over inked. Weigh your markers, and I think I even did that time, but I still think I overfilled it. But I think it'll be, I do it all the time. I mean, not all the time, but I don't usually color over that much white gel pen, but I've done it and it works just fine. But do it at your own risk. I just wanted to warn you for that. Did you see I went in and laid a little bit more of that gray? So I didn't want too much of the white gel pen in those dark recesses underneath the hat. And then I pushed some of that red that had leaked out, with my Color Splendor. It really just pushes the ink. It doesn't really blend unless I've seen some people do it in the 2 marker challenge or 3 markers where they've laid it down and then put the color on and then layered up the Copics to get some different shades. So that might work. I don't know. I haven't tried it. But really it just is removes the ink or pushes the ink. And there I was lifting that up hoping you guys could see the fur. That die I brought in real quick is a scalloped circle with stitching. And I didn't actually show cutting it out, and I just got some red cardstock. And this card's a 5x7. So the Joy it's only a 6x6 paper pad. Or no, it was 6x8, but it's only 6 inches across. So it wasn't long enough to go, horizontally. So I snipped it, and I might have done that anyway, and what you'll see is I kind of wanted to make sure that the Joy, where Joy is on the other side, was complete. So that's why you see it hanging off the side there. I cut some of these holly leaves out of green cardstock I had, but it wasn't the right green, so I bought some green markers to color and shade, and I would have shaded these anyway, but I may not have colored the entire thing if I had the correct green to go with the holly that's on the pattern paper. So I'm just going in, I colored the entire thing and then adding a little bit of shading down the center and then in those corners just to give it some depth. This paper is really pretty. The snowflakes on there are they're foiled. And they're almost like holographic, I think. I think that paper is. Yeah, I think it is that one, you guys. Then these pine cones are some old Stampin' Up! Dies that I have, and they're probably retired, probably not around anymore, but use what you've got. You could even use like ephemera, or you could do acorns. You could use whatever. And I got some different E-markers out, and I just shaded on the top and bottom so that they had a little more depth as well. Try to give them a little bit more rounded look by doing that too. Shading down the sides just a little lighter. Let's see. I'm sorry if I'm like breathing heavy, or I hope not, because it'll remind me of like that girl or that one kid in Hey Arnold that always pops up behind. What is her name on there? I can't remember, the blonde-haired girl with the pigtails, and she always, she is always like, and get, socks him or whatever, and he's always like breathing over his shoulder. He just shows up. So I hope I don't sound like that because of this cold. Anyway, but yeah, I really miss paper crafting, but I've been enjoying using these other mediums too. I actually have some wood stars that I got, those wood stars from the Dollar Tree, the really thin ones, the blanks. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'll have to share those. Even if I just share them on my Instagram, because I took them. Another thing I've been playing around with is epoxy, and I used my Distress inks and colored the background, and they look like cherry or mahogany wood. And then I did the kids' names with the Cricut and cut out some vinyl and did white vinyl and did an epoxy pour over them. And then I attached a knob so that they can hang their jackets from it. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. I'll have to show you guys. I was so excited with how it came out. So I'm using my T-square ruler here because I did cut that strip down and I wanted to make sure it was lined up. And I'm going to go ahead and attach my pine cones here and holly leaves. And I attach that to the image here on the circle on the right hand side, because I thought that you'll see, I think it looks balanced. It helps balance it there and bring your eye over to the other part of the card. Do you guys have any plans for the holidays? I don't know if I talked about that already in this voiceover. Hey, you guys, making videos and doing voiceovers and editing is a lot of work. And those that can do a voiceover that's super entertaining, kudos to them. I mean, really give them thumbs up. Promote their videos for them, because it's difficult. I'm an introvert. And so this is really hard for me. And I could write a script, and I think I did try that before, but your script isn't always as long as your video, and then I forget things or this or that. So those that can do this and make it entertaining and draw you in, they've got talent in different ways than I do, and kudos to them. So make sure you thumbs up people like that, because they put a lot of work into it. And I'm just laying my card here on my panel onto a card base. And those are some white glitter snowflakes I just cut out of some snowflakes dies I had. And that cardstock is the printable Pin and Gear one from Walmart. It die cuts great. You can ink it. You can print on it. I love it. I took some scraps of the pattern paper that I had. I put them on the inside to bring some of that in. And some of those little snowflakes, and attached it. You'll see at the picture at the end, I used enamel dots. So the little holly berries that are on the outside, I moved to the inside. And I don't think I showed that. And they're in the photo, there's actual enamel dots, which I thought I liked a bit better for the front. I just couldn't find them. And then I found them after. And they were right where I looked 3, 4, 5 times. Anyway, I think we're coming to the end here. Tim Holtz long shears. Great for trimming the paper off that hangs over the edges. Guys, get a straight edge. There she is. Look at I think it came out so cute, and I love how the hat and the fur came out. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy holidays.